Welcome to another series of 88 Talks. I'm your host Ayan, my co-host Mr. Varun, and our guest Mr. Jitin.
Yes.
If I pronounce it
Hi.
right.
Yep, it's correct.
So Jitin, welcome to our podcast. So
Yep.
tell me about yourself, like about your car.
Yeah, sure. So,
Ford EcoSport.
yep, mostly heart's been inclined to Fords for a very long time.
Why Ford?
Reason is they say right, your car defines your personality, and I believe Ford matches my personality and my way of living very closely. It resonates with the way I am.
Is this your first Ford?
This is my fifth Ford.
Which was your first Ford?
We had an Escort 1.8 diesel
Oh, that's
back,
easy.
back in 99 2000. Then we got a Ford Icon 1.3 petrol. Then one EcoSport, the blue one, which is at home. Same spec, but different color. This is my own car, like my first own car.
Okay.
And then I had a Figo for a brief period of time. So that Figo was a limited run Figo for about 500 units because of the gearbox and engine combo. That had a 1.5 Dragon with a 6-speed torque converter gearbox. So that is why that was a special car as well in my heart. But yeah, sadly that's no more with me. So yep, I sold it recently because of lack of usage and nobody is driving the car at all. So I thought, okay, at least let another enthusiast get to enjoy it. So this is my heart and soul,
So this
the Red
is,
Dragon.
You have two EcoSports now.
Yep,
So have you done anything to the car? Aesthetics, I can see the grille.
yep.
What else?
So I'm more of a performance person, but I give importance to aesthetics as well equally. So from day one, I got this car tuned. So it was tuned by Wolf Moto about 3.5-4 years ago, and then I got it tuned with Grizzly recently.
Okay.
The reason why I chose Grizzly is because their tunes are far more linear. It is custom made to my specific requirements since I travel across the country quite often for travel and leisure in my car itself. So I wanted that linear torque across all terrains, and there shouldn't be any loss of power when I climb mountains. And touchwood,
So diesel.
this is a diesel,
It's a diesel. It's a 1.5.
1.5 BS4 TDCI.
Okay. You have not upgraded the wheels or anything.
I'm mostly an OE guy, so I want to keep it as OEM as possible. So that is
So
why,
it's more of an OEM plus spec.
yes.
So what?
In case you say that you're more of an OEM person, can you tell the OEM parts that you've replaced in this? The OEM parts that you've imported?
Yeah, certainly. So then,
Imported.
yeah, most of them. So it's mostly inside out. The changes are inside out because when you look at the car, in the first glance, you will never know what this car is made of. The grille might make you think that okay, this is a different car, but if you minus the grille part, you will not even be able to differentiate. Like we have gone to such a granular level that this is from the Thunder variant, this particular skid plate. Then this headlight was on the Thunder variant. So Ford had launched a limited run of this edition as well for about a year. So wherein,
EcoSport?
yeah, EcoSport. So EcoSport
In India?
in India
Okay.
and even overseas, but it was not called as Thunder overseas. They had a different name. So in the Thunder edition, the grille was blacked out. So they made more emphasis on making the car look more sporty.
Okay.
So the headlights are blackened out from factory. The skid plate is blacked out. The rear skid plate is also blacked out in that edition. But since I have changed the rear bumper as well, so that is to accommodate blind spot integration. So I am yet to get some more parts of the blind spot system, but the requirement is to change the bumper so that the sensor sits flush.
What are the OEM plus mods you have done?
Prominently, if you see, I had even done drive modes. I have it on my other video as well. Yeah, selectable drive modes.
Includes the coding.
Yeah, you have to change the ABS module for the drive mode to work. So it's functional, but right now since that switch has some issue, I have ordered a replacement steering wheel from overseas. So I'll be replacing it with that. I can share a working video as well over to you. So I have worked on that. That's like the most biggest mod I have done in terms of interiors and well as braking. So the module was sourced from Ford Puma, and we had to recalibrate the entire ABS right from reiterating the VIN number to match my car's VIN, and then altering certain parameters to ensure that the ABS as well as the other functionalities such as your traction control, hill assist, all those features as well are unaffected.
Hill assist everything is added onto the car.
By
never came
default.
by factory.
But my car had it by default. Hill assist and ESP is there by default. Maybe if you have the time and if you are more inclined towards a little more of the technical stuff, I can show you the difference of an ESP module and a normal ABS module.
Okay.
So there's a difference in the pinouts itself.
So that's all you have done. Like you're talking about the ABS module, which that's the only module.
You have to change even the speedometer. So the speedometer also is an import from the Puma. Steering wheel is from the Puma. Then the gear knob I have customized. That is the only non-OEM part you can see in my car. And the armrest is a sliding armrest, again from the UK. And the bumper also is imported. The reason why I changed the bumper I mentioned before, I'll mention again. That's to accommodate the blind spot integration system. And I felt that the car feels more squatted, gives slightly better handling and higher towing capacity as well.
Have you done anything to the suspension for the handling or something like that?
Bone stock.
Bone stock?
Car is driven 1.6 lakh kilometers and it's bone stock.
What about the braking?
Braking, yes, I have changed it to rear discs again, which was an OEM part from the factory itself. But Ford had exported the rear disc to different countries, but they did not give it in India.
So the original EcoSport only came with drum brakes in the back?
In India.
In India.
If you see the US and UK markets, they have it with the rear disc.
So this one has the rear disc?
OEM from the factory. I've changed the axle itself.
Oh, so basically it didn't come from the factory when you bought it, you got that changed.
Yeah.
How hard was it? Like you got the parts easily or how?
Not that easy. So each part had to be curated from different countries. So sometimes you'll get the brake calipers in Australia, you'll get the rotors in UK, you might get the axle in Germany, or if you're lucky enough, if you find something in India also, it's pretty
do you know
good.
That particular part matches the whole, the whole setup.
So there are parts catalog as well. So there are certain people who help me access the parts catalog, or sometimes I would say even eBay is your best friend. For any car which has a global mod potential, I would suggest people to explore into eBay. You can find a lot of car parts and you can see if it matches your car or not as well. Most of the time we use part numbers to match, but again you cannot judge by part numbers alone, because one letter change in the part number, the entire part will change. Like it will change to such a level that the clip, for example this same skid plate, for the Brazil version the clips are inverse, so it will not fit this car. So it is to that granularity.
What about the reliability? Because let me be honest with you.
Sure.
We did have cars from Ford, that's the Escort and an Icon. They were not that reliable. They gave us a lot of problems to which we had to sell the car. And I haven't heard much about Fords except for the Endova, the Figo and the EcoSport. So
Correct.
how is the reliability on this car and the maintenance, and how easy is it, or is it a task?
Trust me if I am saying this, because I was an avid biker too in the past. I have been using the EcoSport for the last 7 years and my own car for the last 3.5 years. Reliability wise, I have never faced a single hiccup except for battery failures in Ladakh only once, and punctures, of course. If you are driving in such unforgiving terrain, you will expect puncture and general wear and tear. Apart from that, I have never faced a single issue, and I have serviced my car only at Ford. Even till date, there are service centers which are running and active. Yes, there are 3 in Bangalore itself.
And how expensive is it? Since you say it's a showroom service, I'm expecting showrooms to be more expensive. So how much do you annually incur?
If it's a general maintenance like your oil change, filter change, it won't cost you more than 5 to 6K. Alignment balancing, of course, I get it done outside because I prefer manual alignment than the automated ones. So I get it done at a place close to my house which is known as classic alignment. So my alignment needs are taken care over there. However, if you see in terms of other parts like slow moving parts like your timing kit, timing chain or bumpers, it is reasonably priced for a car of this quality and price band. Because if you want a bumper as well, I think in today's times it's around 5-6K without paint. Yeah, it's very affordable. Timing kit in the showroom to replace itself, they charge around 16,000 with labor. And it's pretty much equivalent to maintaining any car worth of 15-20 lakhs. And the bills are so affordable that two-wheelers cost expensive these days.
But do you think Ford is a good option, like, as they have discontinued it in the year 2021 September?
September 9th, 2021 was the date they announced their exit.
Yes.
It was anticipated. Again, there were a lot of internal politics which happened, especially in the upper leadership. Not many people are aware of. because of certain high-ranking officials in the leadership. People think it's due to the secondary plant which Ford built, but they could have repurposed that, to build the Ranger and the other trucks what they use in the US or other markets. They could have used the Sanand plant as a nice hub for export. It's huge, massive, and it also is prone to this one. I mean, it is certified to even withstand a tornado and any seismic activity too. So they have,
right?
yeah, in Sanand. So they have engineered it to that level, and when they had to suddenly call an exit, the exit is not just because of the plant, it is because of many internal things which have happened within the organization. Like I had a chance to speak to the former MD as well. I think during COVID they had kept a online virtual meet for all all the EcoSport owners. So I was one amongst them. That time I was the youngest. I think back then I was 22, 23 years old. So I mentioned this because when I went to pick my first EcoSport, they started to reduce features in the car. See, generally every OEM has the right to do that, but when you go to such a level that you keep doing it every month like a lottery system, what happens is you lose the confidence and trust of the buyers. So Ford's game-changing part, apart from the engine and dynamics, was the Sync 3. That is like one of the most fluid systems I have come across in any car. I have driven up to Range Rovers as well.
Head unit you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, and for an OEM, that's like the best I have come across in the market.
But my main question is, but why did they leave? What was the actual reason they left?
That
You're talking about the manufacturing plant, right?
Yeah, so many people think they over-invested in the secondary plant and that is the reason for their loss.
So it was a bankruptcy?
Bankruptcy they had to claim because Ford has been very ethical in terms of settling their dues with suppliers as well, because there have been instances where people who have worked with vendor firms and who supply with Ford have personally told me that the levels what Ford maintains and the payments are always on time and of the highest quality. Other OEMs or other suppliers, what they do is they usually have a credit limit or something, whereas Ford settled every single penny of it, which amounted to I think around 10-15 crores as well for a simple paint shop contract or even parts contract. They have settled it to the single penny. Other companies are declared bankrupt and they wouldn't have paid the money at all. So that is the ethical standards what Ford has set.
You're talking about the Ford India?
Yeah, Ford India.
But as per what I have known, researched, I feel Ford lacks in a bit of R&D that's with their cars.
Could you elaborate on that?
Okay, so as per my research, this is a car. The name is the Ford Pinto.
Okay. It was not in the Indian market
It
though.
was in the Indian market. Just about, so we are talking about Ford, I wanted to pick this up.
Sure.
So the car had an issue with the fuel tank, if you know.
Yeah, Pinto and the Thunderbirds, I think of the early 70s and 80s.
So the minute the car gets someone crashes into the car,
the fuel tank catches fire. Yeah. Yes, I'm aware of that. But
so
yeah.
This was a very, and the thing is, Ford knew about it, but still they sold the car.
Yeah, but later even the FAA regulations also stepped in and they had to recall that entire batch as well. Even though they were aware of it, they did their due diligence and they have rectified that in the future models.
But still 900 people died due to that accident. You are aware about it.
Correct.
Not here, but
Correct, in the US. So
it was
if
just
I talk about
$11 repair per car.
Correct. So that is, I think, 50 years ago. You and I weren't even born. So I would suggest, I'm not trying to be, defensive, but I would suggest we will stick on to facts which pertain to the last 20, 30 years and more specific to India, because I think we are living in India and driving. That makes more sense even to people who we want to reach out to.
Okay, as you're talking about the past 20 years, let's talk about the past 20 years.
Sure.
What about the Ford Escort, the Icon? Why didn't they do that great in the market? Because the sales wasn't that great.
Agreed.
And as per personal experience, the car gave a lot of issues.
I agree. The initial batches of the Escort, especially the 1.8 diesel, had a lot of problems because the main issue was the wet timing chain. Okay. Because of that, and iron block, obviously it was good, but the wet timing chain issue and the fuel injection issues were a problem back then, which is why the Escort was a flop and it was priced way too high for that era.
7 to 10 lakhs.
8 lakhs I think in the late 90s. So that was too high at that point of time, and even the Icon, it was fairly successful, but again parts were a deterrent because even I had an Icon and the parts were really expensive to replace or repair. So which is why I think that initial 5-10 years gave Ford a negative publicity, as well as it gave a different perception in the minds of people.
So basically, Ford didn't come up with a proper plan.
They did, but again, they wanted to enter India. Like they entered India through a partnership with Mahindra in '95.
50/50 joint venture.
Yes. So in '95 they did that, and the Escort was the first product. And then if you see post that, then Mahindra again, dissolved that merger, and then Ford started out to venture independently, and their first independent venture was the Icon. And then whatever mistakes they made in the Icon,
97?
Icon was I think in the year '99.
99.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 99 and went on till 2010. So Fiesta was its successor.
The Fiesta Classic was a successor.
Yes, not the global.
Fiesta,
Yes,
because
not the global
That
one.
was more of a dolphin-looking car, if I'm not wrong, because it had pretty long headlights.
Which, the global Fiesta or the Fiesta Classic you're talking about?
Fiesta Classic. Fiesta Classic was proper. Looks like a proper sedan.
Yeah.
The normal Fiesta, which came later on a little bit,
Yeah, I think that the Aston Martin shape is what you're talking about. The grill.
no, probably yes.
Yes, that's the one, because that was a dud.
Didn't do great in the market.
Again, they had way too advanced features for its time. I think in 2012 or 13, an 8 lakh rupee sedan having cruise control, emergency assist, auto dimming mirrors, airbags, ABS, it was all unheard of in the Indian market. Car was excellently built, and the reason, I'll tell you the reasons. First, it was launched as a diesel only model initially, and second was the high price tag. That time Ford was just coming out of the perception of negative publicity due to their expensive maintenance. The Figo alleviated that to a major extent, and we all know how the Figo is today. Even in today's times, if you need a used Figo, I think the Gen 1 between 2010 to 14, it costs anywhere between 2 to 2.5 lakhs for a well kept Figo diesel. So I think the reason for Fiesta's downfall, especially the global model, is due to these two main factors.
But as per Indian mindset, if a consumer is getting so many features, why wouldn't he just, a consumer will actually go, because you had a lot of features back then in the Polo.
Correct.
Polos.
But the Polos were severely under-equipped as well, I think, if you see in the mid and top variants. But I should hand it out to them, because the initial batch of the Polos, most of the components were German-made and not Indian-made. So I think that also plays a role. Like I said, there are a lot of differences where one cannot see, but that's where the OEM's integrity comes into picture. So like I mentioned about the this one brace for the chassis as well, which the EcoSport has. Even the Endeavour has a brace for its chassis. So that's what contributes to its sharper handling.
So you have the brace.
It is factory fitted. I have not done any changes to it, so it is factory fitted. So these are the things where people generally overlook, and they are mostly onto things which are visually catchy or appealing to their eye first. Say for instance the touch screens and the steering wheel or the headlights or sunroof. I feel personally sunroof isn't a feature which is needed in India.
You use it once in a year.
I
Once in 6 months.
Yeah, I generally not a fan of it. I am not a fan of it. So I wanted a car without a sunroof too, which is why purposely I took this car. I ensured I did not want a sunroof, because I have this fear wherein something just falls down or a coconut falls down, or in case the car gets older, your sunroof's rubber beadings and other mechanisms also starts to wear out, and that itself is an expensive affair. And your structural integrity, that means in case of a crash, so if your car topples over or turns turtle, the first thing to break will be the sunroof, and which will offer you less protection to your head. Rather, go with the highest safety features such as 6 or 7 airbags, ESP, hill assist. These are things which you cannot retrofit or which you will never get aftermarket. I would say that is a bigger investment than a sunroof. Yep.
So the Fords, even the Endeavour didn't come with a sunroof in India.
It did. Since that was a
the latest gen you're talking about.
I think he's talking about the 2016.
The first gen, I don't think they
First
came
gen
with a sunroof.
till 2015 you never had a sunroof at all. So that was a proper truck, and that itself was a different charm to drive though. And yeah, speaking of the Endeavour, even the Endeavour's service cost is as low as 10k for like 10,000 kilometers or 1 year, just the maintenance.
You gotta be kidding.
I'm serious, I can give you a number right now to my person at Ford. He's a pretty good friend of mine. I can even extract the bill. You name any car or you name even my car, I'll give you the bill. I can prove it to you. Not being arrogant, I'm stating facts.
Pretty normal. do you feel like the drop? Like I said, there was a drop in the Indian market for Ford. Did Ford compromise in the quality back in the day, or was it because people do in the Indian market they do compromise on the quality?
Correct.
They kind of reduce the quality in the Euro spec cars have a better quality. Did they do that in India or?
See, like I said, so they have done it in places where you and I cannot see. Like for instance, the wiring. So this is also one of the reasons for Ford's downfall, because the feature swap, like I mentioned about the Sync 3 and Fly Audio. Fly Audio is such a system that everyone wants to get rid of it because it has no Android Auto and CarPlay.
Okay.
And
It's
just one touchscreen Bluetooth unit with inbuilt navigation, which feels like you are from the 90s. But when I brought this up with the ex-MD as well, he gave me a sarcastic reply, stating that, oh, you know so much about cars and how these things function, then send me a resume. I was ready to send my resume, but he never took my word seriously. I told him this as well, sir, if you reduce features, mark my words, in 2 years, you will, yes, you will close the company. That's what they did. So the first lot of the EcoSport came with all bells and whistles, like say you had under-seat storage in the front passenger seat. You have for 60-40 split, you can even open the seat base. You have cargo management. My car has all of these. So this was one of the first batches as well. It came with 17-inch wheels. Then later in April 2018, just because of the cost factor, they started reducing the features.
Again, with the cost-cutting factors, what are the cost-cutting factors that you noticed, like which were there in your particular EcoSport or whatsoever EcoSports in the Indian market?
Not only EcoSport, I would say even the Figo and Endeavour as well. See, even in the Figo, in South Africa as well as Europe, they gave Sync 3. Why I'm saying about Sync 3, those who own a Ford, those who are using it daily, they will understand why Sync 3 is important, because it is so seamless in terms of connectivity and your Android Auto and Apple CarPlay integration. So they could have given that even in the Figo, which they did not. But at that time, I think the Suzuki Baleno, as well as the other cars in the market, were coming with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay in 2018-19, wherein these people did not give that. So if they had given that, it would have been a game changer for them. And they had even provision of cruise control in the Figo and Aspire, which they never gave in the Indian market. The wiring is there, but the controls are in there.
Okay. So what was this car priced at, brand new, when you would have thought of?
Yeah, the ex-showroom price was about 11.8 lakhs, I think, for this particular variant, the Titanium Plus Diesel.
And if all those OEM Plus fitments which you're talking about, if they are added on, how much would that be?
See, it would have gone up to say 13 to 14 lakhs, but still it would have been a better buy when we get it from the factory or when we get it brand new, because for me to import and retrofit each part, I might have literally spent around 5 lakh rupees. I don't mind spending that upfront and extending my EMI tenure by a year or two, which gives better peace of mind. But for some crazy enthusiasts like us, we don't mind going the extra mile and getting these things done as well. But 90% of the crowd would want everything from the factory, which they had in the factory in Chennai. I have been to the factory in Chennai too. Everything was built in Chennai.
And where was it gone?
They exported it.
They never gave it here.
They never gave it. That's why I'm saying we were being shortchanged. Not only Ford, almost most of the OEMs do this. Like they do not even give us an option where you get some certain features which are additional, but they are not even giving you an option as a paid option. I think that would have been a better option.
Those OEM Plus mods which are manufactured here, if they were on our Indian cars, they would have done better in the market.
They would have literally retained their top spot, because I think till the end EcoSport was their best-selling car. They could have made it a notch further, and these guys have introduced ADAS and lane keep assist way back in 2017 and 18 in the Europe, but not in India.
You have a lot of restrictions here, and the manufacturers don't get it here. I don't know, there are a lot of reasons for that.
Correct, but I'm saying, see, when they came up with the BS6 issue as well, they could have done that, because see, when manufacturers like Kia, Tata and Mahindra are giving ADAS, Ford could have given. And to be frank, Mahindra XUV 700 looks like the Ford territory. It is similar in every aspect. I am sorry if people think I am being biased towards Ford, but
you have your own point of view.
It is like, if you compare the images side by side, interior and exterior, you will know that this car is almost identical. And there have been, evidences that Mahindra has used the engineering and intellect from Fords to design their XUV 700 too. I cannot reveal the sources nor the names because that will be an integrity question for me, so I cannot do that. But this is the fact, and that is why they dissolved the partnership. And if you look timeline wise as well, XUV 700 was launched in September 21. Ford also exited in September 21, and the ex-Ford CEO and MD jumped to Tata Motors commercial division 28 days after Ford exited India. So it was all a well-staged coup.
And there was one more thing also that I noticed. This your EcoSport is a longer version of your Eco. I think the bumper makes it longer.
Yeah, coming to the bumper
So was
part.
that also a cost cutting which Ford did when
That
they
was
released your
due
EcoSport?
to regulatory issues. So in India, what we have is the sub 4 meter rule. I don't know why God gave him the thought that we had to bring in a sub 4 meter rule. Because of that, we are losing out on a lot of beautiful cars which are there in the international market. Because the sub 4 meter rule says that from the front bumper to the rear bumper, the maximum length should be 3,999 meters. So this bumper adds an additional 150 mm, but that 150 mm gives you better towing capacity, and it gives you space to work around with additional features of wiring. Like say, for example, the blind spot sensor sits on that edges of the bumper only. So that's why the bumper is elongated a bit, and even the towing capacity is better in this.
And again, this bumper, did you import it or is it available in India?
Partially imported. So like say the metallic reinforcements had to be welded back onto this car because it's not a direct fit, and in Ford every single bit is different. Like I said with the wiring, my variant has a different wiring, the one with similar spec as mine will have a different wiring, different serial number.
Same, different variants which came into the Indian market had different wiring.
Yeah, so this was one of the main reasons why I felt Ford lost, the game as well. Yeah, so I think that sub 4 meter rule killed a lot of beautiful cars in the market,
I
like
think
we
even the
discussed.
Polo, if I'm not
Yeah, even the Polo as well.
The Golf.
Polo, Golf, all these beautiful cars do not see the light of day in our country because of this absurd rule. And the painful point is to gain subsidy benefits, you need to have an engine which is below 1200 cc for petrol and below 1500 cc for diesel, and the ground clearance should be less than 180 mm so that you can extract the benefits of the sub 4 meter rule. Else it is classified as a SUV and the tax bracket goes higher, and the diesel cess is far higher, petrol does not get a cess.
So because of all these rules and regulations was the reason why Ford had to leave India?
Yeah, because like I said, they are pretty ethical when it comes to their way of doing business, and the restrictions also, were very
Because,
tightly constricting for them.
Suzuki, Honda, Kia, Hyundai, they're all doing pretty good in the market.
Yeah, so the reasons why they are doing and why Ford lagged behind was, first is I said, leave aside the bankruptcy and the other part because that happens in every business, and if capable leadership is there, they can turn the tables around for their fortune. But we'll focus on the technical aspects why Ford couldn't make it in India, and if they correct these, I think they surely do have a very bright future ahead. The first thing I would say is, the part democratization. You take Suzuki, Hyundai, Kia, anyone, right from their basic model, which is I think, you take even your Espresso or Swift, the most popular one, all the way up to Grand Vitara, you have the same switchgear, similar steering wheel, similar infotainments. Whereas with Ford, Figo had a 6.5 inch screen, EcoSport came with an 8 inch screen, Endeavour came with an 8 inch screen in India, in Thailand it came as the Everest with the 14 inch screen. So these are the different variations. So they could have standardized their parts bin, like use the same parts, it becomes easier for them, economies of scale can be matched. Secondly, wiring. These cars are doing well because their base models are attractively priced. Ford's base models are not so attractively priced, but they have a lot of, safety ingrained into it, because even their base models came with ABS and dual airbags back in the days, I think, around 8 years ago or 9 years ago, and they were the first ones to even give you hill assist in this segment. And even in the Figo as Freestyle 2 in 2018, for 8 lakhs you were getting a car with 6 airbags, hill assist, traction control. I don't think any car came with that package
So
6 years ago.
They were good, but they also had parts which were different. So that particular part sticks onto the same car. And this is one of the reasons. Or
Yeah,
they
so
weren't that, doing
correct,
that
because see, it becomes confusing even for the vendors as well to manufacture different types of part, and again variant by variant it differs. I agree, OEMs do have different variants to keep that features difference in check, but they have one common thing with them: the wiring is same for all. Even for example, you take your own Celtos, your base model wiring will be different from the top model, but the next model from the base will have the same wiring as the topmost variant. So that makes it easier for modularity. Even aftermarket accessories can be added easily. Whereas with Ford, only OEM can be added and only a specific part can be added. So if the wiring part is democratized, like without compromising on the quality, I think that sales will bump up a lot.
So, concluding why Ford failed, let's talk about the internal politics. One reason. Second one was technical issues,
the wiring.
parts, the wirings not matching this, similar models. And what other reason?
Other reason was they failed to offer flexibility in terms of powertrains and engines. They had a beautiful opportunity in 2020 when BS6 was introduced. They should have axed the TDCI and brought in the 1.5 EcoBlue. It had a 6-speed manual, 6-speed automatic, and that had crazy amount of torque as well in the diesel, around 300 Nm torque from the factory and 125 PS power. They should have just plonked in that, and things would have been much better today. And when we speak about the wiring, it's not that the wiring quality is inferior. When there are so many variations in the plugs, the connectors, the couplers, so that becomes confusing for even a trained technician to diagnose or resolve the issues. So if it is standardized, people can diagnose it, like even if they go outside on an emergency, like say nearby garage, a friendly garage.
So, since the Ford has exited India, do they still manufacture here? Is there Ford export even now in India?
Unfortunately, they have stopped operations in India, like manufacturing altogether. But I've heard that they might restart by the end of this year. But that will focus only on the premium segment. I think mostly
What about the spare
around
parts?
the.
Like, if they're not manufacturing anything here, what about the spare parts? Like, do you want any spare parts of these cars?
Spares are available readily. So
Readily, but to a certain time. Like, after that, once the stock is dead, you won't be able to get it.
legally, Ford is bound to supply parts till 2031 because once a company exits, as per the government norms, they are legally bound to provide parts and service
10 years.
for the next 10 years, which they are, I think, on track. So, spare parts, engine parts, you do get.
Imported.
No, these are all locally made and they do have sources. I am talking about manufacturing of new vehicles. Those are kept on the hold for now. So, I think by the end of this year, they'll restart manufacturing the Everest, which is known as the Endeavour in India. I think that will be their pilot car to restart their third innings in India.
So, you're telling that there might be a comeback of Ford in India.
Yes, because even if you see hiring, they have been hiring aggressively in their Chennai global business plant, and even they have an office in Bangalore as well in Manyata. But the thing is, they are very, very specific about the job roles they apply to. So even if you have a slight variance in your resume or your job experience, they will reject. So you can imagine when they are so stringent with the hiring process itself, so how stringent they'll be with the quality of their cars.
Okay, so if I was to ask you, you love Ford that much, tell me about the Ford users. You said, that they have a very loyal customer base.
Yeah.
How do you claim that, they have that loyal customer base?
Sure, I've mentioned numerous times even on my Team BHP forums too. So like I think my handle is Jitin23 and you can read about my articles over there. So we have a community known as EcoSport Club Bangalore, and then there are a few more communities across the country for different Ford vehicles. But EcoSport has the most number of active clubs as well in the country. So there's been even a record which has been certified by India Book of Records itself for the highest number of cars in a single venue, which was around 393 cars, which was being hosted by EcoSTVM, EcoSport Club Trivandrum.
Okay.
So that is the highest ever in the country. 393 EcoSports in one single place.
Record only in the country, not
Even globally as well. If you see for a same car, same model, nobody else has been able to match up to this level.
Okay.
And even the Ecos Club Kerala too, they have been very supportive. And due to the high patronage of EcoSport owners, I think one of the dealerships in Kerala opened a new service center altogether. So that is the level of loyalty and support we get. from the communities as well, and it's been a very well knit community. Everyone treats each other like family, and like I've traveled across the country thrice, like all the way from here to Ladakh in the north and Arunachal in the east. Wherever I go, be it Guwahati, Delhi, Mumbai, Calcutta, one phone call away, somebody or the other is there, like who is an owner of an EcoSport or an Endeavour or a Figo. They are ready to welcome you with all warmth into their culture and traditions.
So ultimately, will the Ford return, if Ford does return, all we are claiming is still, it's a claim, if Ford does return, you think it's going to be a success?
It will be a 50-50 effort. I'll tell you why 50-50. Because 50% of the crowd, like people like me and few others who own Fords, we always would go for another one, because it's similar to, I think, your Apple iPhones in this generation, because once you are used to that UI or that quality, it's difficult to step back. And the other 50 would be on the perception stating that, अरे यार ये तो दो बार छोड़ के गया, तीसरा बार आएगा तो क्या गारंटी है. So for those on the fence, I would say not to be in the dilemma, because they really make good cars. And even if you see any used car portal for a used Ford, the prices are really good, especially the EcoSport and Endeavour. It's through the roof. Like a well kept EcoSport, you will not find one for below 10 lakhs, especially the BS4s, and a well kept Endeavour nothing less than 25 lakhs. It's more like the Yamaha RX and the RDs of this era. These are collectors' items. I know, like each one has a different perspective, but once you drive this car for quite a fair amount of time is when you understand its true potential. It's like not love at first sight, but once you get to know a person, you know their intricacies and their character. That's how this car grows on you, and the brand as well. And even today, like wherever you go, I have taken my car to almost all service centers in India whenever I travel. So they accommodate me even without any prior appointment or something if I request them, because they know that I'm a traveling customer, and they get my car back in shape in 2-3 hours. So support has been excellent. Parts wise, I think for the next 5 years we are good to get parts. If not, globally we can always import. So that's all I have. Maybe if you guys have anything else, I'm always up for a chat or a conversation. And if you all have the time, please you can join us along for our EcoSport Club meetup too, which we are hosting next Sunday.
We would love to.
Yep. I think it was a great time spending with you, Ayan and Varun.
Conversation,
It
about
went too
Ford
deep.
and,
Yeah.
The whole experience of yours with Ford, why they left, and you have a lot of knowledge about Ford though. So that was a nice conversation again. Thank you, Mr. Jatin.
Yeah. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, Ayan.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Varun. Yep. We'll keep in touch and see you soon.